who were helping up. We had
staff waiting on you.
Staff waiting on you, cooking homemade meals for you right there. I was like, when you do something nice, you never want to go back.
Can't go back.
I was like, what? I gotta do this all the time. I was broke, mind you, but I was like, this is what I need in my life.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is how the other side lives. I didn't know. Welcome to the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Keith, Ryan, Harrison, Coalition Properties, and friends talking about the intersection between lifestyle, real estate, culture, art, and everything in between because it all blends perfectly. Good day, good people. Welcome back to another episode of the All Blends Perfectly podcast. I'm one of your hosts, and my name is Harrison Beecher. My co-host for the day.
It's Ryan Butler.
And who we're missing, but he's here in spirit because he is actually traveling the world right now, is our brother Keith James, a.k.a. Jimmy Kenneth. I think he's got his glasses on because that's just what he does look great. Today, we're going to talk about travel, man.
Yeah.
Traveling
move around a little bit.
Because it's summertime, right?
Summertime, summer.
You got to plan ahead because right now the whole airplane industry is absolutely falling apart.
Man.
So travel is fun when you get to your destination. On the way there, summer 2023, it's going to take longer. We warned you
they
first.
Ran out of planes. I just feel like they ran
planes, people wilding out.
Planes. They made all their money.
Overbooking,
oh man, they made all their money and now they ran out of planes.
Gosh, remember the thing we talked about at Metrics, like how much would you give to buy your seat out? Like why they don't give more money? Like that whole situation, absolute mess.
Tough spot.
But world travel is fun and important, and it's really, I think, an impactful part of kind of my adulthood growth journey, maturity to just experience and see different places. So today we wanted to talk about some of the favorite places that we have been, and also share some fun stories about some things that we've done on vacation. Because in our both group economics episode, where Ryan just talked about doing hood rat stuff with your friends, we like to do some of the hood rat stuff around the world. So travel, Ryan, when I think about an episode or conversation around travel, what is the first trip or first place that comes to your mind that was a lot of fun for you?
That's a good question, actually. I wasn't expecting that one. I think the first real trip that I think kind of triggered all of our travels together as a group was our friend's wedding in Jamaica. I think they did a destination
Shout out to Chris
wedding.
Boone, who was here on the fatherhood conversation with us.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Chris and then Afia. They had a destination wedding and they were like, I don't think nobody's going to come. Everybody came. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is the new group. This is the new crowd. Everybody's just going to be traveling to destinations, like no matter for weddings or whatever. So from there, that kind of spawned our group a little bit. Like, I think that's when we just started deciding to travel together.
Well, I think it was proof of concept. Like we realized, because we had all, I feel like people had different experiences with travel as a kid. You had a unique experience being a, military dude, moving to different places. You've lived in different countries. Like that was
brat. Yeah, military brat. I wasn't the guy.
Military dude.
Yeah.
Military brat. I, being the child of divorce, had the good fortune of going back and forth up and down the mid-Atlantic from D.C. to Birmingham, Alabama, quite a bit. So I was like on planes.
Were you on a bus?
Nah, Southwest Airlines, man.
Rosa Parks on a bus?
No, because the funny part is on Southwest, right? Up until the age of 13, you're still an unaccompanied minor. I was a very large child. So at 12 years old, I was 5'10", a little bit of a, mustache growing already. I'm getting walked down. I had to wear a freaking pin and button on me that was like with a thing that people had to sign that said like, this unaccompanied minor needs to be looked after or whatever. Yeah. And it was before 9/11 where your family could walk you to the gate. So the flight attendants would be like, this behemoth grown man, like he don't need to get signed in or out. Like he's bigger than me. But I would get pre-boarding.
Did they have to hold your hand down the aisle?
They had to escort me down and hand me off, and I was larger. So that was really funny. So I got to travel domestically a little bit. You got to travel internationally. But there's a special thing I think that happens when that first time you get off a plane in a new place and the air is different and like a true climate change trip, which is what that for Chris and Afia was, because it was winter, right? It was January, I believe.
I just know it was hot.
It was January. We went from D.C. to Jamaica, so it was winter, and you get off and you're like, man, I just done changed climates. I done got on the plane and changed the climate. But then when you're there with your friends, I think that idea of being able to share a fun experience with the group
and then
was really powerful.
I think also we were able to lean into luxury a little bit in that one. That was my first time kind of leaning into luxury.
Traveling nice.
Traveling nice. Talk to me nice. Chat with me nice. Because they had the villas.
Yeah.
And we had people who were
Staff.
helping up. We had
Staff waiting
we
on
had
you. Yeah,
staff
yeah.
waiting on you, cooking homemade meals for you right there. I was like, when you can do something nice, you never want to go back.
Can't go back.
I was like, what? I gotta do this all the time. I was broke, mind you, but I was like, this is what I need in my life.
This is the way.
This is the way.
That's how the other side lives. I didn't know. Oh
Yeah.
man! But then also to experience it together, man. Like
It was great.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, so I traveled a lot when I was a kid because my dad was in the military. So I lived in Germany for 6 years, and that was grades 7 through 12. I think that's 6 years. But yeah, anyway, 7 through 12. So like even then I did travel a lot through Europe. What's interesting is when I got older, I'd done so much European stuff, and then I was kind of like, I was young, so my mind was still developing, but I was like, man, I don't want to go to Europe no more.
yeah.
I was tired of that. I was like, let me go some other places. But there's actually, I don't know if I showed you this. There's an app called Ben, Been.
Okay.
I'll show you that.
No.
So there's an app called Ben. You can kind of like just track all of your
just
places
map where you've
that
been in the world.
Map where you've been in the world.
That's fire.
So it'll show you. So let's see. Right now I have 27 countries, and I have 5 continents. Technically it's 6, but I don't count the other one because the Polynesian ones count for a kind of.
They count for their own.
No. But it's like part of that whole like Australia,
Micronesia.
so they move it over to like Australia, New Zealand continent area, at least on this app. But if you ain't go to Australia, I feel like you didn't like have the experience. So right now I got 5 continents, 27 countries, and then I have I think 30. Let me see. Tell you how many states I got.
And for those that don't want to download an app for Ben, if you are an iPhone user and you keep your locations on your pictures, your photos can go to the map, show you everywhere you've taken a picture. That's how I track where I've been. But it doesn't give me the data like his does.
Or I was saying, don't tell you how many. You got to count it up every time.
Yeah.
Like,
No visual.
And then I think I'm at 38 or 39 states.
That's dope.
So my goal was to get to all the states and all the continents before I turn 40.
All right, next. What's the next state up that you haven't been to that you're going to check out?
Next state I haven't been to, Alaska.
Okay.
Going to Alaska in September.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on a cruise, but I'm going to be there. And then after that, I was actually planning on going to Antarctica either, this is 23, right?
Okay. Why? Can you explain?
Because it's the 7th continent.
Okay.
If you got to do 7 continents, that's part of it. You just got to show up. You can't just like, I know Harrison does not care one bit about going to Antarctica.
I'm curious. I want to understand, like, what do you plan to do?
What are you going to do there?
Yeah.
You watch polar bears?
You said that with a straight face. I'm going to go on vacation and watch a polar bear. And the first thing I think of is, all right, where would I have to, how long is it going to take for me to ride to get to the polar bear? How cold am I going to be? Nah, bro.
Watch polar bears. Side note, did you know that polar bears are the only bears that don't eat vegetables or anything else outside of meat?
That makes sense because there is none. Yeah.
There's nothing else. So they just eat meat.
So Antarctica. What else you going to do other than watch polar bears?
Well, first off, you got to fly to like, the southern hemisphere. So you spend a couple days there in on the way, like Chile and
all the way at the bottom of South America.
All the bottoms. They got penguins.
Okay.
Yeah. So just see some animals you're not in their natural
and just
habitat.
To say, but that's a trip to kind of say you've done it and do something that not many people have done.
Yeah, for sure. But no, you can get in the water. There's some others, not in the water, but you'll be like in a little boat. You look at me like in the water.
All right, so you heard it here first. Ryan is going to Antarctica
and get in the water
to look at polar bears, penguins, and get in the water. That's not a glowing endorsement for why you need to go to Antarctica. I don't know.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Can you think of a list of things? I mean, I'd love to see the animals. I love the animals, but like in the water, I don't even get in the water in the Mediterranean.
You barely get. I was shocked you got in the water when we were in Phoenix last time. That's the only time I've ever seen you in water.
All right,
ever in my life.
Speaking of travel, all right. So some people travel to destinations for water sports. I am
water
denser.
sports.
Water sports.
Water sports.
Water sports.
You call getting in the pool a water sport?
I do. It's activity in the water or ocean. All right, for one, a little sensitive. I don't like salt water in my eyes and things like that, and in my mouth and ears. And the water gets in your ears is terrible. And it takes more effort for me to float. The other people get in the water like, oh, it's relaxing. Just relax. You can float. No. I'll sink like an English bulldog. Like it takes a lot of effort for me to stay up. So unless it's like crazy hot, which it was pretty hot there, I don't choose water sports for recreation. I will be by a pool. I like to be by the ocean. I want to hear the ocean. I want to feel the ocean breeze.
We both bottom heavy together, man. So I know I know how you feel. I'm bottom heavy as well.
It takes effort.
It took effort to be fair, you might not have the right teacher. So
the right teacher
for swimming.
How that gonna change my body? How that gonna change me sinking?
No, because I had to get the right teacher to actually learn how to properly float. For years, I was like bottom heavy, and that is a thing. Like it's not like it's actually
you can be coached into,
but it can be a little bit better. You can modify. I feel like they should have swimming for.
Well, look, we're getting baby boy swim lessons, and some of the adults are gonna do the lessons too.
So, yeah, for sure. But you're gonna have to get a special teacher
baby,
for him.
I'm having my baby learn how to swim. I learn how to swim at the same time. Oh man! All right, so travel. So you talk about some domestic travel, some different internationals.
Yeah. Man. So what's your travel journey, if you will?
Man,
did you do spring breaks out of the country? Did you go?
I did one our junior year. Our junior year in college, and that was honestly the first time I got my passport, because the rest of it, and I think we could have a whole separate side conversation about cruises and about the exposure that kind of your middle class, kind of middle America, black families do, what they think of vacation and what a like nice vacation is. I think cruises filled in a very interesting space for a long time because they were a very affordable, like an economical way to get a multi-day trip, all included, and see a couple islands and things like that. So I did cruises from middle school up through high school and a little bit into college with my family. Like we were Carnival cruise. I didn't know any better. Thought I met the love of my life on a cruise when I was like 19. But I was honestly close to. I applied early on. Never said this before. I applied to DJ on Carnival cruise ships right around the same time I got my real estate license. Because I thought like, oh man, this would be dope. Like I can travel, get paid for it. And, got the initial call back, but I was like, I had to go go to Florida to interview or something somewhere. And I'm like,
too much work,
too much money and too much work at that time. Like hindsight, 2020, but it all worked out. But for me, it started with cruises. And then my first, I think, legit trip was probably the South Africa trip, man. Because if it was 2014.
Well, how you define it legit? Because you know how you are.
No. So that was the first transatlantic. That was the first time crossing the Atlantic. And also just going to the continent of Africa, man. Like I feel like you hear all this lore. There's this concept. If you grow up African American in America, like I think of my idea of what Africa was growing up was like coming to America and Zamunda. Like I legit thought, because if you don't know better, and I didn't have real close friends who were like, directly from an African country and came to America where I talked about where they came from. I knew Ethiopians, East Africans, West Africans.
You're right. And there's some words, this phrase you definitely should not say, and probably used to say as a kid.
Yeah.
About that.
Oh, there was a lot of. Yeah, dude.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
It was really bad.
But going to see that in real life, man, what made South Africa special was not just the climate, because I'm very much a culinary and nightlife tourist, right? Like I want to eat some good food and I want to experience the nightlife. I want to hear the music. I want to see like what vibe people have. Because I used to even, when I would DJ, play different ethnic music, like world music had a lot of correlations and could blend well with different music from like the black folks or poor folks in any city or town. So there's like New Orleans bounce, there's Baltimore club, there's go-go in DC, there's hyphy on the West Coast, what's Memphis juk, what's the jigging, right? Like all of those have a lot of interesting correlations with world music. And being in South Africa was that first time I was like, man, like this vibe is perfect. And the special part about when we were there,
you didn't even say go-go? Did you say go-go?
I did say go-go, DC, okay. Go-go. Yeah, which is, come on, bro, come on. But South Africa was great because the rand to the dollar, which is their currency to the dollar, the translation or whatever was amazing. So we were over there living
big man,
like
rich
kings,
man,
like kings,
big man, rich man,
like kings, and eating great too, man. Oh man, it was just if South Africa is within somebody's schedule, your thought, like definitely do it. Absolutely beautiful. We did Cape Town and did an actual safari in outside of Johannesburg on a little like puddle jumper plane to get there. It was amazing, man. It was a beautiful place.
I'm really jealous that I missed that trip. That's one of the trips like I'm really sad I didn't get to go on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's with our group, it's like terrible FOMO. Like, like you do not want to miss the trips. And even what's cool is like, I mean, no telling when this episode airs, but we're about to go on a trip together, just like in between our travel years, and just get together and go to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like probably what, 15 of us?
Yeah.
20 of us probably total.
And a few people get added in and rotated
yeah,
in.
a little rotated in and out. We got like 15, 20 people. Go hit the Usher concert. And trying to figure out what else we're gonna do. What are we gonna do?
The nighttime.
The nighttime.
You going ratchet or international and EDM? Huh?
Yeah,
Which
for sure.
choosing?
We got a couple different options. Diplo.
Well, Vegas. Well, that's a good point. We bring up Vegas, man.
Yeah.
I went to Vegas a couple times as a kid, but like adult, my progression in
Vegas.
traveling to Vegas as an adult has been very interesting. What when you think about going to Vegas as a destination? Why do you go? And what do you do in Vegas?
Shows.
Okay.
I'm not a big gambler.
Me either.
But I'll spend when I was younger. I refused to lose any money on any type of gambles because I didn't have a lot. Yeah,
it hurt too much to
and
lose
now,
it.
I'll spend. Maybe I'll go there and play blackjack or poker or something like that. $100 or something really like not even when people go gamble $100 is something that they wouldn't mind losing in 15 minutes. I can't quite stomach that still, even to this day.
Bro, speaking of gambling, my dad called me last week, and his very good friend is the best slot machine player I've ever known. Back in the early 2000s, she won a whole Lexus SUV at a slot machine in Biloxi, Mississippi. Last week, she went on a heater. I want to say it was $50,000 she won from a slot machine, bro. From a slot machine. And I look at that and I'm like, man, that is fascinating. But it was like a $3 per spin slot machine. How much before, sorry. But
well, 10%, she probably spent 10% on that.
I don't know how the math works. I know the house always wins. So that's why I'm a bad gambler too. So it's not, there's a lot more to do in Vegas. So you talked about shows.
Well, they got shows. They got top tier restaurants.
Yes.
And a lot of people fly in for those things. Yeah. Like the fact that even the show that we're going to for Usher, I mean, he's a tier A, tier 1, elite level.
The top selling artist of all time. Yeah.
Top selling artist of all time. And they have him on residency. So they're like, come, I'm going to pay you a lot of money. Come here and people are going to come to the show. All right, bet. So it's just easier for that. I mean, they have shows in New York and stuff like that too. But I think Vegas just got a different feel. It's a little bit cheaper once you leave the strip.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go get an Airbnb outside of the strip or something like that, it's cool. But getting to the strip, it's got all the luxuries you want. So it's a good mix of things there.
And if you ever want to do the desert and the Grand Canyon,
exactly. So now you can also do the outdoor because they actually got great mountain stuff. Hiking. We got some friends from our different trips, events, and stuff like Jerome. Yeah, Jerome's out there always running in hot Vegas weather. But
again, that wouldn't be very vacation-like to me. I couldn't see myself going somewhere and be like, you know what I'm gonna do for fun? I'm gonna run in one of the most inhospitable climates to humans in the world.
Yeah,
for fun,
and climb a mountain with it while we're there.
And climb a mountain.
Yep. So no, that's so people got a lot of different options when they head out to Vegas.
Gotcha. For me, I also think of the nightlife. Because what Vegas does at a high level and how they've kind of pivoted from this, and it is still Sin City, get into whatever you want, all of your vices.
Yeah.
But the amount of production that goes into every club, like I really love traveling to places where they really invest in amazing sound systems and lights. Like when we did our Thailand trip, one of our favorite parts was going to one of those half moon beach parties. And if you're a sound nerd out there, there's a sound system called Function One. They had a Function One sound system on the beach.
That was fun.
That was amazing.
That was a great trip.
That was amazing, right? Like,
so we went to Thailand.
Yeah.
And in Thailand, we went to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Chiang Mai.
And Phuket.
Yeah. And so at each place, I mean, we were 15, 20 deep there too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think what's most interesting and kind of unique is the fact that we travel with such a large group.
Correct. And have done it consistently. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's four trips.
More than that.
You guys did Croatia.
Yeah.
And South Africa, I missed those two.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of Jamaica, South Africa, Croatia, Thailand, Greece, and then in between there was the Mexico Villa one and the Jamaica Villa one. So
that
that's
don't count. Y'all left us out. People with no kids, y'all can come on this trip.
Oh man! And then everybody had a kid the next year. So.
Yeah, and then y'all all want to have kids together. You know what? Screw y'all.
But the group travel thing, I think, is an important part of any convo. Like when you do it with either a small group or a large group, just having someone that you can share the experience with with a big group, it's powerful because you can have people that decide
split
to engage.
off, you
Like,
come in, come
introverts,
out.
extroverts, want to rage, want to relax, want to like, and that's, I think,
Because
the
if you
best way to
three
travel.
deep, then you feel like you got to be together all the time.
All the time. All
it's
the
like,
time.
what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? I know I'm definitely guilty of that. I'm the one calling Harrison, like, Harrison, you ready? Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's like, man, I just want to chill in my room by myself. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
My bad, Beach.
Yeah. Because, I mean, again, like I said, I'm a culinary and nightlife. And I get tired, man. I want to sleep. I actually, on vacation, I love to sleep. I like resting in beautiful places. Whereas my wife's posture is a little different. She wants to go do all the things and run and exercise. And nah.
I want to do all of that, though. Like, in the beginning, I want to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, right now, I'm on a extended staycation because my parents have my daughter. So in the beginning, first couple weeks, I'm like, I literally just catching up on sleep.
Yep.
I'm just sleeping as much as I can because I don't know when I'm gonna sleep again when she comes back.
It's a jungle cat life.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, I'm gonna be starting a little bit more working out, getting on the rhythm, doing some yoga in the morning, just getting a rhythm of exercise and that kind of thing. So
love it.
What's been your favorite place to go though? What's your favorite place? How many countries have you been to?
Maybe if you had to have me count now, I know Brazil, what you're talking about.
Is this going to take a long time or a short time?
I'm just thinking Brazil, South Africa, Greece, Italy. Layover just in France, Mexico, Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and TNT.
Thailand, Singapore. We did the Singapore layover. That was really dope. Singapore, because love Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace. The way he's able to, in a really quick time frame, go check out a place, eat the food, get some of the culture, hear things. At my little 72-hour trip to Singapore, man, David Beckham was walking around in a hawker stand. And I'm not a huge, I guess I'm a big Spice Girls fan, I guess, growing up. I mean, we all are.
If you wanna be my
right? We all are.
Not
really a big soccer or football guy, but David Beckham is
he's
one of the most recognizable people.
100%.
And he was super nice. I waved, we said, what's up? And he was just filming a TV show at a hawker stand. And then we stayed at the Marina Bay Sands, which is like that one with it's like the two towers with the cruise ship on top.
Yeah. It's the largest infinity pool in the world.
Oh, yeah, that was fire. That was super cool. And everybody was just nice, man. I feel like whenever I travel, like I said, if I'm a culinary and hospitality tourist, be nice about what you feeding me and how you doing and treat me. Because I could go down to my own fridge and make a sandwich and be angry about it.
Of all the things Harris is going to make,
he's
going to make a sandwich.
You know that. But if I'm going somewhere and I'm paying for my sandwich, and this sandwich has a 99% markup on what it should be, you better be smiling and happy and excited about that sandwich you're bringing me.
It's funny you bring that up because in most countries, well, I'm not going to say most countries, but that is a thing in I'm not going to name them names, but some Caribbean countries, some Caribbean countries, man, they got an attitude with you. Oh my God. You got to ask a question. Even here, right? Like when we hear you go in there and you're like, we don't have that. Nah, we don't have that either.
Giving it away with the accent.
We don't have that either. Yeah, we got that. Go back. Oh man, we don't have that.
You're like, yo.
Oh my God. One, you don't have anything. And two, why you got an attitude? Like,
I'm mad at me. Like, this is your job. Like,
suck your teeth at me. What? Yeah. You want that?
So generally speaking, places that have outstanding hospitality, from my experience, Latin America, the East, pretty solid. I feel like Europe, hit or miss, just because it's a different vibe.
Depends on the country. They might not like you.
Yeah, they might not like you.
We
had a quick layover in Munich, actually, coming back. And I know you lived in Germany.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
No, Germany's cool.
Yeah, and nobody was mean, but they were just to the point. It was no, which is actually a very efficient way to be. It was very efficient. That's how I felt about Germany.
That's their, that's kind of like their MO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but going to Spain or something like that, there might be some places you wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out, basically, right?
You gotta be careful.
Yeah,
you gotta be careful. So we talked about group travel. We talked about some of our favorite places. Another one, I feel like, I won't say it's misconceptions, but the understanding of Brazil and how it works too.
I didn't go to Brazil, so this is one on you, big guy.
Well, Rio is where I got to spend some time with, and that was actually my second time leaving the country. I did it right after graduation. And what was cool about it was seeing for the first time the diaspora of Black people in a different place. Because Brazil as a country, I think it was number 2 or tied with America for the amount of African slaves. They went to the country. So if you go, and I felt similar in Cuba, I'm like, man, this person who is very clearly Brazilian, been Brazilian their whole life, looks like they could be my cousin. Like I felt like there is a commonality of being of African descent, but then you got a completely different lived experience, and then they're just so much more blended, kind of ethnically, that was kind of fascinating to look at how a different country interacts with race and how it is.
Yeah.
And they were just all beautiful. Food was great. Music was amazing. Everybody was fit. Like everybody was crazy fit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's like a beach thing too. Like if you live near the beach,
if you half naked half the time, you're gonna like work out.
Because people in California, people in Florida, definitely California.
Because you outside and half naked. So, and the other thing I'll say is why people have, Brazil's famous for their posteriors, right? People have nice lower halves, booties,
bottom
whatever you want to say.
Bottom heavies.
The cheeks. They walk up and down hills every day. Like it's a hill.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I would have nice legs and butt too. If to go home, I had to ascend like 400-foot hill every single day.
That's super fair. Yeah, I mean, I think, man, I was supposed to go to Australia with my family.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story?
No.
Man, I was supposed to go to Australia with my family. I'm on my way to Guam, right? I stop in Oklahoma. I see my boy Chris. We were friends from high school. I don't know if it was it at his wedding? Might not have been a wedding. But anyways, I wake up. I was really young then, so I had young tendencies. And I woke up and I couldn't find my passport. I couldn't find my passport. And I still didn't find it.
Wow.
So I had to go to Guam. My family didn't. They was like, oh, we're not going to go. And then I stayed there for however long, and I leave. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing pictures. They went to Australia without me. I was so mad. But I could only be mad at myself, obviously, because I couldn't get the passport in time. But yeah, they went to Australia. They're like, "Oh, we're eating kangaroo."
And there was no passport office in Guam. I assume
you can't get it that fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to ship
and it's
to the
U.S.
side of the world.
territory, so I didn't need it to get
right,
there. I just
to
needed
be there.
Yeah. So that was a sad time for me right there. But it's some of the more interesting countries. Vancouver is actually a really cool city.
I've never been to Canada, Vancouver. Man. That's a trip I really want to take.
Yeah, I like that one. I also like Thailand was dope. The Greece trip was dope. Getting in the Caribbean is cool, man. Oh, Colombia, man. Colombia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Medellin, Colombia. That's where like a lot of some of the Fat Five members, 4 out of 5 were able to gather.
Yeah,
2 were living there at the time, and the other 2 came. So Tommy and Doug were there, living there, and then me and Lorenzo met up there. So it was kind of cool to see all our good friends from college. Yeah, me and there, everybody speaking Spanish. I was like, what is going on in here?
Y'all learned this. Y'all paid attention in college, huh?
Exactly. So that was kind of cool. And then. It's tough to beat Tanzania, also known as some people say Tanzania, but
that's the correct pronunciation.
That's how they told it to me, so that's how I say it.
Okay,
so
that's the far east side of Africa, right?
That's correct. It's right next to like Ethiopia, all those places over there, Uganda, Somalia. So up in that, it's east. It's considered Eastern Africa.
What made it great? Why'd you love it?
Well, one, safari. We went on safari, and it's super dope safari. Now, safaris are crazy because when you're really out there in nature, man, and you're in this little land cruiser
with no top.
Yeah, no, the top was there. Well, they could get into it. No, they had a top, but you could, they let it go or whatever. Okay. But man, like the whole just like the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. You're out in nature, so we're over there climbing this mountain, like leaning on the side, feeling like we about to fall off the side of a mountain. Yeah. And then there's big holes, and your car is just going through, and you're literally like, it's like a rocking boat up in there. You're like, boom, boom. Yeah. But the animals were majestic. We saw the Big Five, and then we went to Zanzibar. Mm-hmm. Zanzibar is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, the crystal clear water. It was warm. I mean, sandbanks everywhere. Mm-hmm. We met a couple there, cool couple, and they just took us around. They were just, I don't know, rich Tanzanians, and they were just around there just hanging out or whatever. And they took us and went to like the spice trade routes and all these things that are really
like thousands of years old, right?
Really, really old. And you kind of see how the Indian, Middle Eastern, African mixture is there. So heavily Muslim piece on that Zanzibar island. So yeah, I mean, it was cool, man. That's one of my favorite ones.
Talk about 2 quick trips for me. Istanbul. On one of our trips to Italy, we actually got a quick layover in there, and I can tell you, man, being in a city.
The Asia, Europe.
I did. We did both sides, like the east and west side. But I'll tell you the most powerful part. There's a converted prison that is now a Four Seasons hotel that has a rooftop restaurant on it. It's on the western side. In the evening, because, heavily Islamic city, they do call to prayer. Being in a city where the call to prayer is broadcast over and again, I'm at this beautiful bar, drink, like everybody just stops for a second. And I think of like all the negative connotations that people think of with Islam and Muslim faith, here in America, which is like so stupid and so dumb. That level of discipline and that power, but also just that peace. Like that was the being in a public place where everybody observe, or most people observe, call to prayer at once is like something you need to experience. But then also going into the Hagia Sophia, which is this thousands of year old building that's been everything from a mosque, a Catholic church, all the different wars, Byzantine, everybody's been fighting over it through history. Seeing that in real life and how it didn't have air conditioning. this crazy
still don't have it.
building. No, and it doesn't to this day. But because of between the stone and the architecture and all that,
put it in there.
But it was comfortable and cool inside. I was like, "How y'all do that? Like, how y'all do that?"
Of all the things Harrison noticed, it's gonna be like, "Oh man, it's not that hot in here. I'm not sweating."
And the street food in both Istanbul. Was outstanding. Like sometimes you would think right where the touristy places are, there's like tourist traps, like crappy food. Yeah. That food in Istanbul was outstanding. And well, I got more stories about the east side versus west side, but the east side is a lot more conservative. The west side is all the way open and people are partying. And it's funny, like, people like, I'm very peaceful and nice on the east side. They go to the west side at night and they party. It was a good time.
For sure.
And I did have a safari story if you didn't have one too, because I had an interesting experience at safari in Johannesburg. But did you have, I guess, as we kind of wrap up, any other like outstanding trips or even like tips
all right,
for people
the safari story. I'm on the safari. We stop in front of the lions, right?
Yeah.
You first see, this is stupid, but at the time I was like, man, I looked at the lioness, like the female lioness, like, could I take her? And the answer is no, right? The answer is no. But I asked the question. I asked myself the question, right? Could I take her? Because when you look, it's like they don't look that big, like the cheetahs and the leopards and stuff. The cheetahs, they don't look that big. I mean, a lot of those animals are like 60 pounds, 50 pounds, right?
A cat, like 60 pounds.
Yeah. Not the point. Not the point. But I'm like, this cat's 60 pounds. I got this cat. But man, when we saw the 3 lions, not the ones, but 3 male lions together, and all you can say is like, it would be over. Not a chance. Like, no, like that's the first time like I was scared. Like I wasn't scared around the rest of the animals, even though I knew like in my mind knew like they could kill me, but part of my mind was like I might be able to survive. Yeah. But like in front of the male lions, man, you feel so helpless and useless. It's the king. And like they were just sitting there sleeping. Like they weren't doing nothing.
How big were the manes? Were the manes like really big too? Or not
they
really?
Were, they were big, man.
Yeah.
And then we asked the guys, like, I kept looking. You know me, I'm like, bro, I'm looking up. I'm looking at them. I'm looking up. I'm looking at them. That lion can climb up here. He's like, no, I can't, man. I say, bro, that lion can climb on top of this
in a second.
Yeah,
if he wanted to,
he can climb on top of it. He's like, nah. And then we drive. He's like, yeah, man, he could climb on top. He's
like, Jamie Foxx might need security. The lion is not going to bother you. Yeah. Like, don't believe him. Don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't believe him for sure.
Oh, dude. All right, so my safari story is fascinating. We're in Johannesburg. We went to Kampala Reserve. It was like somewhere in Kruger National Forest. What's different about Kruger is they don't have fences. Right, like that's the thing.
So the animals can come up.
The animals can come on up everywhere, and we go to check into our hut on safari, and I'm like, "Hey, excuse me, sir, there doesn't seem to be a lock on my door. Is that normal?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, it's not a problem, sir. It is so you can get out if the lion gets in." Like, that's an option. Like they can actually get in because the hut. I mean, it was like a gap, and and ours, all of them was like a central row with windows facing out, and our shower was glass with big tall window. So as you shower, and one day, that's a terrible elephant. Elephant comes by like right outside the shower. So that was like wow. But my most fun safari story was seeing a rhino. Yeah, seeing a rhinoceros in real life, male rhino, solo. That was one of those moments
They're
where
always by themselves too, typically.
Males. Yeah, males. Yeah, males. Women will sometimes have the kids with them if they're rearing them, but male rhino. We're in an open back. Ours is completely open back. Range Rover, where you're sitting in the top, like think of like Jurassic Park. It's completely out. So like 4 rows. It was like the equivalent of an expedition with no top. And we all went. And I want to get up at the highest point so I can see it all. Whatever. It's like 4 a.m. And our guide is all nice. He's all bubbly. He's exciting, talking a little trash. We turn a corner and see the male rhino. And that male rhino is eating. He lifts his head up real fast. And the craziest part is he wasn't completely pointed at us. But this thing we're as big as an Expedition. That rhino is as big as a Ford Explorer. Like it's a medium SUV. We're a big SUV, but it's an animal as big as an SUV. The speed with which that rhino went from looking kind of this way to pointing straight at us, horn down. I'm like, hey man, hey, like are we? And I could even see in his demeanor, he's like kind of funny. And he's like, oh shit. Like, he got his stuff together and he's got this rifle and it's maybe the size of this. I'm like, I gotta know how poaching works. That's not gonna do nothing for this. So the driver, like him and the driver, you can say both of their body language change. They tense up. He takes the car out of gear and then slowly just starts to roll back. Because in the moment that the rhino did that, that's a very aggressive defensive posture. And they say, well, we're just going to back away. And he started like explaining, so we're going to back away. Everybody please be quiet. And we just kind of rolled the car backwards. Meanwhile, it's like 5 a.m. Like we just woke up and we're all excited. I was like, that was a real moment. Yeah. Rolled back, gave it a couple minutes, and then he was like looking, had his thing, and eventually the rhino went off. But the speed that SUV like turned on a dime and pointed, I was like, had he decided to charge us, how fast it was, how strong it was, he could have flipped us like it was nothing. Man, like that was the scariest moment I had.
Think about how antelope feel. Like every day they're like having fun, and then all of a sudden they just got to look and be like, is this it? Like, is it coming for me? Like every day they got to do that.
Every day. The wildest is the hippo though too, man, because the hippos kill more people.
For sure.
The
and
most
they're vegetarian. They don't even eat meat.
That's just defense. They're not even killing you to eat you. Yeah.
That's not even defense. Have you seen them?
But to protect their territory. They will come after you to protect their territory. If you don't mess with them.
But their territory is big though.
Your territory can be whatever you want it to be when you're big enough.
They literally out there just running around. They see you. They going after you like, nah, we coming. Yeah. And they can run like 35 miles an hour. So you got this
and swim fast too.
And they can swim fast, and their mouths open like the and full length of their mouths.
Their jaw, their biting power is like
for sure
unmatched.
It's a wrap. They be snatching kids out of boats and stuff.
And my favorite, since we talk about nature now too, I'm gonna profess this. I'm gonna say it in public, so it's coming. Pretty sure I'm gonna get an orca tattoo, like a killer whale orca tattoo. Those are apex predators, man.
They are.
There's nothing in the world in the water that can mess with them.
You got no jokes for me on this one, to
be
honest with
you. It's amazing.
I'm surprised because I'm usually ready for one of you.
No, because I loved it. But what we're talking about now, like with the orcas that are the adolescents that are just playing games and like fooling around with boats and killing people for fun.
Just for fun.
Like, come on, man. And also it's kind of Mother Nature,
to getting back at us,
fighting back at us.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's also like the blue whales is it sperm whales or the blue whales?
Sperm. Mm-hmm.
That are like going on boats, like basically.
Oh no, the blue whales are the one jumping out the water.
They're jumping out the water and landing on the boats.
Yeah.
Like on top of the boats.
It's like Avatar Way of the Water. It's like the Kulukan coming out the water to get you.
I'm like, man, I feel like they must be saying, I think it's my time to go. I'm gonna take somebody out with me.
They're like, y'all in my space. Like we've been here millions of years. You out here dumping, polluting, putting little microplastics everywhere.
Here go Harrison's on his.
Hey, Mother Nature been here a lot longer than us, and she's gonna be here much further. Any final thoughts on travel, man? Anything else?
Nah, man. I think it's just kind of fun to talk about. Like what I actually loved was the travel we do together, especially. We do a lot of business travel. We even took business trips to Mexico for speaking engagements and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun. It's way more fun to travel for me personally. Everybody ain't this way, but it's way more fun for me to travel with my friends. And it's fun when you can travel with your friends and make some money there. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of that.
You can do both. No, man, I think traveling is such a blessing. I think the perspective that you get from both seeing how other people live, feeling how another place in the world operates at the same time you do, but it's just a completely different place. If you have the opportunity to go experience something different, be it domestically or internationally, you should, because you will rarely regret going to just experience something new and feel it out. All right. We appreciate y'all for tapping into another conversation of the All Blends Perfectly podcast. Best way to connect with us is on YouTube. So please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment, share, all the buttons down below that you can, except the thumbs down. We don't like that button at all.
No, we don't like that one.
This is Ryan Butler. Online, he is at Ryan Butler Hoya. I am Harrison Beecher. I am at HL Beach on Instagram. This podcast is at All Blends Perfectly. Our business partner, Keith James Realtor, is at Keith James Realtor. And our sales team is at Coalition Properties. We thank you so much for tapping in with us today. We'll see you in the next episode of All Blends Perfectly.